This week I'm taking a look at the Yakuza film Outrage by writer, director, and actor Takeshi Kitano. If I was to summarize this film in one internet meme, it would be, well, that escalated quickly. And I mean that very much in the original context where it's used in Anchorman. The film begins with the conference of Yakuza bosses, with Otomo, played by Takeshi Kitano, who runs a crew left waiting on the outside. It's a very... If I were film brain, this would be where I'd do the symbolism thing. But I'm not, so I won't. When Otomo's boss is informed that he needs to distance himself from his sworn brother, another boss, because that boss is dealing drugs, Otomo is selected to be the tactic for that distancing by muscling in on the second boss's turf. From there, things quickly escalate out of control, as Otomo's boss and his sworn brother are manipulated against each other, Otomo against his boss's sworn brother's lieutenant, and on and on and on and upwards and ever-escalating spirals of violence and brutality and betrayal. What makes this work so well is that the film, which is also written and directed by Kitano, never loses the plot, never makes it so you can't track who's scheming against who, and also keeps you asking what other schemes are going on, while always making sure that we get answers to those questions. While the film's narrative is wheels within wheels within wheels within yet still more wheels, the mechanism is always visible. The film is also incredibly well shot. The movie's cinematographer, Katsumi Yanagishima, I apologize for mangling your name, Katsumi, if you are listening or watching this, had worked with Kitano several times before, including on the film Sonatine. The two worked together incredibly well, doing a very fantastic job of shooting this film and making the violence in this film, which is much more structured than the violence in Sonatine, more clearly visible when it needs to be, with the key being that Kitano is great at knowing when to show violence and when not to show it. When violence is more effective at unnerving the viewer, as when, for example, Yakuza boss Murase is maimed in a dentist's office, or when one Yakuza is forced to cut his fingertip off with a box cutter before getting his face slashed, we see the violence because we as the audience fear how far things will go, how far events will escalate. However, once things reach their fever pitch, Kitano knows that we know that, so he can take things off camera and let us be unnerved by what's implied. It also serves as a great way to save budget, by having Otomo miss a grenade attack by being in the bathroom, so we see the aftermath instead of Kitano having to spend the money on filming a big explosion. All in all, Outrage makes it clear that Kitano is one of the world's best directors and writers of gangster cinema. That said, considering this film ends with everything tied up in a bow, I'm kind of surprised that he made a sequel. I'm going to make a guess that this was a studio thing. I'm interested in seeing the sequel, but I'm kind of wondering how they'll set it up. Also, this film works really well in context with the Yakuza Papers series of films, as it plays into all of those same themes. That in the Yakuza, you are simply a pawn for the use and abuse of your superiors. Even if you get to be head of your own crew, even if you get to be boss of an organization, you will always be a pawn in the eyes of others. Even people who are possibly lower on the totem pole than you. And this film plays that out very well. So I definitely recommend seeing this film, particularly if you're a fan of gangster film. Once again, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please like and subscribe to this channel. Subscribing gets you notified when future episodes come out, and liking lets me know that you enjoyed the episode. The video on the right will be of the previous episode of Nintendo Power Retrospectives, if you want to go see what I reviewed previously on that show. And the video on the left will take you to the previous episode of Breaking It All Down, while you'll get to see what I covered there. And below that will be a link to my Patreon page if you wish to back the show. Backing the show can get you a mention in the credits, and also, depending on your level of support, you can determine what I do future Let's Plays of on breaking it all down and what else I review on that show as well. So go ahead and click on that and back the show. Also, backing the show helps me get the show out more often and improve the production quality of the show, which is good for everybody. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.